Hi, welcome to an episode of Reasons Why I'm Not Allowed Outside Anymore. Even though I think we've all experienced the desire to eat things that aren't food. There's a subreddit in a TLC show that revolves around this desire, so it must be common. Of course, some of those things can end up being your last meal, but others you can technically safely consume on a semi-regular basis with no adverse effects. People might think you're a weirdo and your friends will start avoiding you, but you'll be physically unharmed. Today, we talk about these foods, which I have dubbed technically allowed snacks. Starting with trees. Yummy. This is a fantasy of mine because of that one episode of Johnny Bravo where he gets served roasted sequoia by a handsome Amazonian woman.
Sequoia, oh boy.
But to answer the question, can we straight up eat trees? I'll need to talk a bit about cellulose. See, unlike animal cells, plant cells have cell walls, and what are those? Cellulose. And what's that? A bunch of glucose molecules. So it's basically a long chain of sugar, but also the main component of wood. That means we can eat it, right? Well, although cellulose has the same nutritional value and makeup as starch, which is edible and yummy, there's one major difference between them. The molecules are linked differently. So while you can technically eat cellulose, you will not digest it. Like, oh no, glucose molecules joined by beta linkage do not agree with me. Shut the fuck. An example of this that you've definitely come across is seeing a random corn kernel on a floater. This happens because corn is encased in a shell made up of cellulose. The inside is starch, but if you don't chew properly, you won't get to it, and the whole thing will just pass through. Animals like beavers, rabbits, and I don't know, squirrels probably, those fat fucks eat anything, have microorganisms in their gut that produce the enzyme cellulase. They get to eat wood. The only way you get to eat wood and not get indigestion is through some sort of genetic manipulation of your gut bacteria. But here's some good news. You can eat some tree safely. Not the bark, not the wood, but the part that's between them called the cambium. This is the nutritional elevator of the tree. It's both edible and digestible. You can't eat the cambium of all trees, but a survivalist's favorite are white pines, which are said to be the tastiest, and their needles are also a good source of vitamin C. Unfortunately, I've found no workaround for cotton, which is pure cellulose, but grass, you can apparently eat all the grass you want, baby. It's just not calorie dense enough for survival situations. That being said, for legal reasons, do not eat this. I'm not encouraging you to even try. Next, dirt. Dirt is another thing you can eat if you really want to. I've discovered that many indigenous tribes and women on Etsy habitually consume clay, but just plain dirt can be dangerous and give you parasites, heavy metal poisoning, too much potassium disease, and it can also block your intestines. A little bit of dirt, though, can actually be beneficial. Research has suggested that people who grow up on farms, for instance, have lower rates of Crohn's disease, asthma, and allergies. The desire to eat dirt may come from a condition known as pica, which is an eating disorder sometimes linked to nutritional deficiencies. But the medical term for eating dirt, which was first described by Hippocrates, is called geophagia. The practice is more common than you think, possibly because clay can absorb toxins and thus help a person with some stomach issues. Additionally, many pregnant women crave dirt in, I quote, an instinctual effort to protect against harm from toxins and pathogens. Clay and dirt are easily digestible, but keep in mind, the people who eat dirt are eating clean or fresh earth from the subsurface of the ground, as bacteria and parasites are normally found in the topsoil. For legal reasons, do not eat this. I'm not encouraging you to even try. The next food / not really food is again me being far too influenced by cartoons. But listen, a whole ass beehive. Now, I hate honey because it has the same flavor profile as an elderly woman's house, but honeycomb looks exquisite. And it's actually the optimum way to consume honey. I know it'd be extremely dangerous to eat a whole hive with bees in it, but luckily in some Asian countries, a roasted honeycomb containing bee larvae is a type of street food. And you know I don't fuck around with the winter bulk. If I can get some extra protein and calories in my meal, that's a win. The same goes for the next food on the list, a whole banana. There's no dignity in eating a banana. It is a fruit meant to be eaten privately and in shame because, first, You gotta peel it like a little bitch looking for which end to start with, and I know some people even remove the little strings left from the peel, which are called phloem bundles by the way, and much like the cambium that we talked about earlier, they transport nutrients and yes, are also very nutritious themselves. So if you're a real winter bulk alpha male like me, you're gonna eat the banana whole, because banana peels have more fiber than the actual fruit, antioxidants, and an additional 78 grams of potassium. But here's the actual reason that they're on my list. The stickers. I really want to eat food stickers. That's the real intrusive thought here. Fruit stickers are not meant to be eaten, obviously, but they're food grade, which means they don't have any harmful chemicals in them. Oh, and the glue? Well, the FDA requires it be edible. So technically, you can peel off the sticker, lick it like a yogurt lid, and throw it away as you swallow the fruit whole, and you'll be fine. Possibly freak people out, but you'll be fine. And everyone else will just be impressed and envious of you. Also, speaking of edible adhesives, here's the amount of glue you can eat per day without getting in trouble, okay? Do not eat glue, but you technically can, but don't eat it. Although, no. Now the next item on the list I consider to be the final boss of things you shouldn't eat but can. Perhaps because it's the most against you eating it. Silica gel packets. Silica gel is a form of silicon dioxide, a powerful moisture-absorbing substance and what I once thought to be the most toxic thing known to man. Like, I would thoroughly wash my hands after touching the packet just in case there was a breach and I accidentally came into contact with one of the balls. But silica gel is chemically inert. Your body is not going to break it down, it will just pass through. The real danger here is actually choking. So it is in fact best if you do get it down to your stomach. The same kind of goes for styrofoam. Styrofoam is the commercial name for polystyrene, a petroleum-based chemical compound. Although many petroleum products will give you hydrocarbon poisoning, styrofoam does not break down and it cannot be absorbed into your body. The only risk here is once again choking. So petroleum-based cottage cheese? Technically allowed. And now, it's not harmful for you to eat it, but it is harming the environment. The new age packing peanuts that look like corn puffs are, well, most often made out of cornstarch. So you'll actually have an easier time eating those, just like nature will have an easier time breaking them down. So non-toxic, eco-friendly Cheeto Puffs, double allowed. For legal reasons, do not eat this. I'm not encouraging you to even try. Finally, last but not least, these magical rocks. This is bismuth. It's one of the least toxic heavy metals, and although you can't eat too much of it, bismuth is the active ingredient in Pepto-Bismol. But more importantly, you know how it was really fashionable to eat gold a few years ago? There were all those BuzzFeed videos where they try foods at different price points and the last food is always mid, but it's covered in gold leaf. If this trend re-emerges, but instead of gold it's bismuth flakes, I feel like I'd be more interested in food that's already fighting against heartburn as I'm eating it. For legal reasons, do not eat this. I'm not encouraging you. That was all the not food foods I wanted to talk about today. Comment which one sounds the tastiest to you, or maybe share a forbidden snack you want to try. Again, do not eat these or you get the crock, okay? Crocks are also technically edible. Okay, bye!